Hello, my single women, and welcome to today's show. This isn't the full show that we're going to have starting later this month, but it is just kind of a little teaser, something to get you guys going. And the topic for today is, how do I know when it is time to break up? This is a really big question that I get often. I get it from clients, I get it from friends, from family, and I'm sure that you've had that question or you've been asked that question. We all know somebody who, at one point in their life or another, is at that crossroad wanting to know, is it time to break up with a person? So, we're going to go over some tips, some tools, and just some ways that you can figure this out for yourself. So the first one is stop and feel. Do a gut check. How do you feel about this person when you're around them? How do you feel about yourself when you are around them? That was a really big one for me in one of my first relationships. Is I stopped liking who I was around that person. And that's how I knew that it wasn't good anymore. So for me, that was my final straw, that I didn't like how I felt and who I was every time this person was around me. And this is somebody who should have been making me feel my best. I mean, we don't always feel our best around the people we love, but that should be the majority of the time. The people that you love, when you're around them, should bring positive feelings about yourself and about them and about life in general. Of course, every relationship is going to have its rocky points, but at one point, I always said, there's a difference between working in a relationship and laboring over it. Every good, great, wonderful relationship takes work. It takes dedication and it takes effort. But there's a difference between that and laboring. And, sometimes people say, well, it's a labor of love, to be cliche. Is it? If you are doing all of the work, if you are dreading seeing this person, it's a pretty good clue. Let's continue. No one but you. You are the only one who can decide when it's time. Of course, if you are working with a counselor or a therapist, or coach, they can certainly give some of their input or help you reveal the way you feel. But in the end, you're the one who has to make and live with that decision. And I have a little checklist that we're going to use. And by the way, if you have not clicked like and subscribe, take a moment, click like, click subscribe. But I have a little checklist that I use, not only for myself, but for my clients as well, to kind of assess whether or not you should still be with this person. So let's go over this list. Ask yourself, how does this person make me feel? Now, we talked about that a little bit before. The person should make you feel, the majority of the time, free, empowered, strong, loved, happy. Now, of course, other feelings may creep in, like frustration. But when frustration starts turning to resentment, that's really hard to come back from. I'm not saying you can't come back from it, but it's very difficult. And if you're feeling tired all the time when you're around this person, and I'm saying isolated around this person, if instead of feeling like you want to spend more time with them, you're like, how can I get a little more free time? You may want to reassess. Now, obviously, for many of us, we are in quarantine, and so you may be spending some extra time with that person. That is a different situation. Obviously, if you are living with somebody right now, now may not be the time to use that as your litmus test. Perhaps when we are in the future, if you're watching this in the future, and if you're watching this in the future, yay, you made it. Good job. Um, but if you are living with somebody right now, cohabitating, you may want to ease off of some of this in that you may be sick of the person you're with 24/7. That's normal. That, in that case, try to go to separate parts of the house for a few hours a day, be in your own space. One of you take a walk, go for a jog, do something constructive with your own time, have a little independent time. That is healthy. But in a normal situation, if you are dreading spending time with this person, it is time to kind of reassess. So the next one, and this is a great visioning exercise I do. I have the person close their eyes and I ask them, picture yourself in 5 years. And then ask yourself, is the person you're with right now in that picture? And I've had a variety of responses to that exercise. Some were like, oh, yes, absolutely. So, and some of them, when they said yes, it was a little sad. And so that you want to investigate further. If them still being there is making you sad or upset or frustrated, there's your answer. Some of them were like, no, that they're not there. And then again, ask yourself how that feels. Does them not being there make you feel sad or frustrated or upset? Or does it make you feel free and lighter and happier? And that's kind of how you can gauge your decision. And your subconscious usually will tell you. It can sometimes take a little bit for this exercise, like a few times for it to work, because you want the most instant answer. You don't want to perseverate over it. The idea of this exercise is that you do it quick and fast, because otherwise then your conscious is coming into it when really you want to get the answer from your subconscious. Now, the next one, which is kind of playing off the exercise. If you imagine your life without them, do you feel upset or do you feel relief? If this person were to exit your life tomorrow, barring any financial frustrations, fears, or whatever. So if you are not tied financially, this person, you don't see them tomorrow and you will never see them again. How does that make you feel? If it is making you feel immense relief, that is your big old red flag. If it, however, is making you might have trouble breathing or suddenly you want to cry or grieve, well, then it's probably not time really to let go of this relationship. Sorry about that, I bumped my desk. It's not time to let go. It might be time to reevaluate it, because the fact that you're even asking the question says that something is up and that you may need to do a little work on the relationship, have some, communication exercises with them. Discuss how you're feeling, if you're frustrated, sad, if you're feeling lonely in a relationship. That can happen. I've been in a relationship like that, and it did not last very long, where even when I was with the person, they weren't fully there with me. And if you find yourself zoning out, tuning out, or they're zoning out, tuning out, you may want to get to the crux of what that is. And you guys may not like the answer. Maybe one or the other is checked out, or maybe it's stress. Maybe you guys are bringing home stress into the relationship. And that's an easy fix. That's something that you can do some stuff before you get together to release the stress. Go work out, go do some art, go do something creative, something to get the stress out before you come together. This way, you guys can really be present in the relationship. But that question of Do I feel upset or relief if I imagine life without them? Really is a good litmus test. Most of my clients or friends who are ready to break up felt immense relief at the idea of not seeing their significant other. And they were ready to let go. So there it is. So now the next question is, do they raise me up or tear me down? When somebody loves you, when they really love you, they want to see you succeed. Because if you win, the team wins. And that's what a great relationship is. It's about being in a team. You know, some of the best relationships around me, they are fierce when they're together. They raise each other up, they stand up for one another. You know, when they're having family issues with their other families, they are raising each other up and standing up for each other. When one has a promotion at work, the other doesn't get jealous. That you know, there's an old adage, or there's, you know, from the Bible, it says, love is not jealous. I'm forgetting the whole saying at the moment, but that is a big part of it. If your significant other tries to belittle you, tear you down, they do the negs. If you don't know what a neg is, that's like a backhanded compliment. They're subtly trying to keep you down and keep you insecure. That's not okay. And if you're doing that to your partner, stop it. Just stop it. If you are insecure in a relationship, that's a you problem, not a them problem, and vice versa. If they're insecure in the relationship, that's not a you problem. That's a them problem. You can never fix someone else's insecurity. So don't try. Do not try to be trustworthy. If they don't trust you, they're never going to trust you. That can actually be signs of emotional abuse. If somebody is constantly mistrusting you, and you've given them, I want to preclude this, and you've given them no reason to distrust you. If you know, like, hey, I'm a loyal, good person, and oh, they're just insecure, then they're not ready to be in a relationship. It doesn't mean they're not a good person. It doesn't mean that they don't have the potential to be a great partner, but they're not ready. Somebody who is that insecure, somebody who tries to control you, that's not okay. It's never okay. And again, I'm going to turn this around. If you feel the need to control your partner, then you're not in a good relationship. And either it's because they've given you a reason to not trust them, in which case it's probably time to end it, or you need to work on your own feelings of being secure as a person. You know, I hate to say it, I'm going to be blunt, but if a person is going to cheat, they're going to cheat. There's nothing that you can do to change that path. If they've already made up their mind, you know, at that point, it's up to you to make the decision that you're not going to put up with that. You know, and if you do that, that's okay. Then you have to be okay with that and maybe come to a different arrangement. You know, you're adults making adult decisions. But if you are not okay with that, controlling the person is never the way to go about it. Ever, 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 ever. Do not try to control somebody else, and don't allow somebody else to control you. And, you know, emotional manipulation is one of the easiest ways. Will you make me feel insecure? No, they make themselves feel insecure. They make themselves feel upset, sad. You know, if you are coming into the relationship, you're being open and honest, and they are not, that is a way to tear you down and to keep you on a string, to keep you on a knife's edge, if you will, or walking on eggshells, which then gives them power. And relationships should not be about a power play. If the two of you are vying for power, back off and reassess. You want, again, a team. You want a relationship where you come together, where you again, lift each other up. You celebrate each other's successes. And the last one is, am I the best version of myself when I'm around them? When you have somebody who lifts you up, you become a better version of yourself. You find yourself doing things that may be healthier for yourself. You are happier when you're around them. They bring you joy. Think of, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting her name, but there's this woman who does a cleaning exercise, and she says, does it spark joy? If you're in a relationship that is not sparking joy, at least part of the time, you might want to reassess this. And again, we are in a tough time right now. The pandemic is probably a time when, it can accelerate these decisions, but make them for all of the reasons listed above, not just for one. Because again, if you are spending 24/7 with somebody, or if you haven't seen them for a very long time, then that distance can maybe trigger a little bit of insecurity, in which case work on it. If you're feeling insecure, work on it. I've been in a variety of types of relationships. I've been in some really great ones, and I've been in ones that were not so good. And the ones that weren't so good, they ended. And while relationships ending are sad, even when you know it's right, they're sad. But in the end, you end up feeling freer. You end up feeling lighter. When you're in the right relationship and you end it, you're going to know that too, because that feeling of freedom does not happen. That the feeling of like instant regret of like, I want to go back and fix this. And remember, you can go back and fix, you can have talks. That's the beautiful thing, unless, too much time has passed and they've already moved on. If it's a new breakup, you can go back and fix. And that's when working with somebody like a coach or a counselor or a therapist, relationship counseling can help. In the end, though, just attending those sessions won't fix it. It's doing the work on yourself and the work on the relationship, and both parties have to do the work. It can't just be one party. So you can't go into a coaching or therapy session or relationship counseling and say, okay, can you fix my partner because there's something wrong with them? No, because then you're not a team and you're not thinking like a team. It's like, we are not working. Not you are not working, we are not working. And even if somebody else is not pulling their weight in the relationship, you hold a little bit of that blame because you've allowed it. For however long you've allowed them to take you for granted. You've allowed them to not give you what you need. And ask yourself, are you giving them the chance? Are you giving them the opportunity to give you what you need in the relationship? And are they giving you the opportunity to give them what they need? Remember, relationships are a two-way street. There is no one person other than you and your partner who can decide if it's time to break up. But if you stay together, make sure that you are lifting each other up, bringing each other to new, empowered places, and that it's coming from a place of love, and that it sparks joy, and that if you leave because it makes sense for you in that time, not because somebody's whispering in your ear, you need to break up with this person. That don't let other people influence you whether you should break up with somebody or not. You make that decision on your own. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this, that you liked it, that maybe it brought you to a bit of clarity, if not now, in the future. And be on the lookout for our weekly shows. They are coming up soon. And I look forward to the next time. Again, if you enjoy this, please like, subscribe, click the notification bells, and share. Share in your social media. Let's have a really great big community. And share your thoughts in the comments below. I have a great week, and I look forward to talking to you again soon, guys.